Okay, today we're going to be solving some multi-step equations that have variables on both sides of the equal sign. So these are going to be very similar to what we were doing before in that you're always going to start with the same things, right? You're going to distribute. You're going to combine like terms. This is where it's new right here. You're going to collect the variables on one side of the equation and the constants on the other. From there, you're going to solve the same way you were before, SAD-MAG, and then we will get to this toward the end of the video. So let's try a couple. We'll start with this one here. The first thing I always do is distribute. And do I have anything just to distribute? Yes, I have this 1/4, so I'm going to distribute it here like this. This is all the same. I'm just going to copy it down. And again, I'm going to remind you, if you struggle with fractions, what is 1/4 times 16? Well, Desmos can do that for you. So 1/4 times 16 is 4. How about 1/4 times 60, which was the other one that we had, times 60, and it's 15. So let's go back. We've distributed. We don't have any like terms to combine. So we're going to start by collecting our variables on one side and our constants on the other. The first thing I'm going to do is draw a line so I don't cross the equal sign, or so that I know what I'm doing on the left, I'm doing on the right. Okay? Every whole number, every variable has a invisible plus sign in front of it here. So we want to, if you don't see a negative sign, it's a positive. We're going to do the opposite to get this moved over to the others. We're going to do the inverse operation to get this 4x over to the other side. So if I see plus, I'm going to subtract 4x. What I do on the right, I'm also going to do on the left. On the left, I'm left with 9 minus 4 is 5x. This minus 5 just drops straight down. This makes a zero pair, so I'm left with just 15 over here. Now I'm going to try moving the constants to the other side. I see subtraction, I do addition. What I do on the left, I do on the right. This makes a zero pair, so I'm left with 5x is equal to 15 plus 5, which is 20. I see multiplication, I do division. What I do on the left, I do on the right, and I'm left with x is equal to 4. Now I can check this by using substitution. In here, I'm going to use 4, and here I'm going to use 4. And this should be equal to this when I'm done. So I can't put an equal sign in Desmos, so I'm going to have to evaluate each of them separately. Let's try that. Now I'm going to use sliders to check. And remember that we can't use X in Desmos and add a slider. So I used B for Miss B, right? I'm going to add a slider. And what did we find X to be? Well, we found X to be 4. So I'm going to set B is equal to 4. And the left-hand side of my equation, 9x minus 5, should equal the right-hand side of my equation, 1/4 times 16x plus 60. And sure enough, they do. This is equal to 31, and this is also equal to 31, so we do that one correctly. Let's try another one. Okay, we're going to start the same way here. We're going to start by distributing. I only see one distribution here. When I distribute that, I get 4 plus 20n. Everything else, I'm just going to copy straight down. Plus. Okay. Now I do have like terms to combine. I see an 8n over here. I see a 20n here. I have a constant here. I don't have anything that I can add to that here, and nothing over here that can be combined. So I'm just going to start with combining my like terms. 20 minus n is 12. And everything else I'm just going to copy straight down. Plus 4. Now I want to work to get all my variables on one side and my constants on the other. I'm going to start with the variables. Since this one is, I'm going to draw the line between them so I don't cross it. Since this is negative, I'm going to start by adding this one. I have plus 6n on the left. What I do on the right, what I do on the right, I also do on the left. I end up with 18n plus 4 equals negative 14. This makes a zero pair, so that's going to be 0. I'm now going to work to get my constants to the other side. This one's really messy. I'm sorry, guys. I end up with 18n is equal to negative 18. Oops. I see multiplication. I do division. What I do on the left, I do on the right. And n is equal to negative 1. And I'm going to use Desmos to check that. All right, so I have the left-hand side of my equation on one side. I have the right-hand side of my equation on the other. I'm just going to double check that I actually wrote this down correctly. Negative 8n plus 4 times 1 plus 5n, correct, and negative 6n minus 14. So I'm going to add a slider. I found n to be equal to negative 1, and when I set this to negative 1, the top and the bottom should match, and they do. Both are negative 8, so we did that one correctly. All right, so for these next two problems, this is where this fifth step is about to come in. So let's see how this works. If the variable drops out, ask yourself at the final line, is it true? Let's see that. So I'm going to start by solving this problem the same way I do everything else. The first thing I do is distribute. On the left, 3x. On the right, I have 3x plus 12. I'm going to try and collect all my variables on one side of the equation, all my constants on the other. I'm going to start by subtracting 3x from both sides. What I do on the right, I do on the left. This makes a zero pair, so on the left-hand side, I will have 0. This also makes a zero pair, so on the right-hand side, I'll have 12. Well, the variable is dropped out at this point, so what I need to ask myself is it true? Is it true? Is 0 equal to 12? No, it is not. So the answer to this problem is no solution. No solution. Let's look at this one in contrast. I have nothing to distribute here, so I'm going to start by combining like terms. I have two constants on this side and nothing else I can combine. So I have 7 minus 8x on the left. On the right, I'm going to have 1 plus 6 minus 8x. And that simplifies to 7 minus 8x. Now I'm going to try and get all my constants on one side, all my variables on the other. So let's start by adding 8x to both sides. Well, this makes a zero pair, and this makes a zero pair. So we're left with 7 is equal to 7. Now the variables have completely dropped out, so what do I ask? Is it true? And is it true? Is 7 equal to 7? Yes. So the answer to this one is all real numbers. I can put any number in here, and this will always be true. So the key to multi-step equations when you have variables on both sides is when you get to that bottom line, you may have to ask. You may not have a solution that looks like x equals a number. You may have to ask, is it true? And if it is true, yes, the answer is all real numbers, meaning any number that you put in there will work. If I put 1 in there, it works. If I put negative 100 in there, it works. But if the answer is no, then there is no solution to that problem. Nothing I put in there is going to make the equation true. All right, I hope this helped. Ms. B, out.